and there's a lot of issues to which we still need to work together on both sides of the aisle as we continue through this report period. Of course, our main focus as we're talking about higher education is economic development, the need to continue to provide highly educated workers for the jobs that are necessary, to make sure there are pathways built, and a lot of the time stems around the background of what we had learned through the committee process to come to some of the recommendations that we met. And as you continue to look, I'm going to kind of dive into a state's educational attainment and what we learned on the road as far as the state's educational attainment. Around the state, there was recognition that Ohio is not where we would like to be when it comes to the educational attainment of our state. On more than one occasion, we heard testimony that Ohio is well below the national average in educational attainment. Nationally, 38.7% of adults held a 2- or 4-year degree, while only 35.5% of Ohioans hold an associate's or bachelor's degree. You can see from the chart that is being just demonstrated on the screens behind us that Ohioans with a bachelor's degree is well below that of most states. We have found that there are a low percentage of students ready for college and a high remediation rate amongst those who are participating in going to college. These are issues that we really need to focus on and address and continue to go forward. As we continue to look at education attainment, we were able to break it down and count by each county in the state. And not only is Ohio below the national average in the attainment overall, but educational attainment varies widely by geography of our state, by race and ethnicity. You can see from the map that is being displayed, and I believe it's all in your packets, that there is a wide variance in educational attainment from one county to another, and such disparities impacts the local and regional economic growth of our state. The next topic, as we talked about educational attainment, we heard, of course, a lot about student debt and the issues surrounding student debt. And this is one purpose of which House Bill 59, we were able to give some universities flexibility to go beyond their original scope, to get creative. And so, as many of you know, Ohio University has went forward with a new educational plan that they're going before the Board of Regents with, that basically gives students a fixed rate of what college is going to look like for them, coupling in all fees. And so we're continuously looking for new ways and innovative ways to help hold flat student debt. As we have continued to hear the testimony around the state, we heard for a call to improve the educational attainment in Ohio. The committee also heard from witnesses concerned about the higher cost of education and often crippling debt that accompanies higher education. High student debt is particularly a problem here in Ohio. Approximately 69% of students graduate with an average debt of $29,033. Now, time and time again on the committee, I had said, and I continue to say, I think we're okay with you coming out with a car loan, but it's not acceptable to come out with a mortgage. And this is one of the areas that we continue to focus on, and is a big issue for us as a state, is ensuring that students are able to afford it, they understand the needs behind it, and the financial implications with it. Based on these figures from the Institute of College Access and Success, Ohio ranks 6th in the country for the percentage of graduates with debt and 9th nationally in the average amount of debt. We also heard the concern that too many students lack the knowledge to understand just what level of debt they were taking on and how that would impact their lives after graduation, and that there is a great need for more financial literacy training. Many schools, of course, as we have toured the state of Ohio, have already taken it upon themselves to really take in students and start the process themselves, and we have heard that, and hopefully we'll be able to take some of these models to adapt throughout the state. In the next chart that you're going to look at, we're looking at the relationships between earnings and education. The committee heard testimony regarding the link between education and earnings, and how important it is to provide this sort of information to both students and their families. And of course, again, very important to economic development as we look forward and students making decisions on where they're going to go into the future. Bureau of Labor Statistics Employment Projections 2012 from 2012 to 22 is the next slide, and this shows some more information that we heard throughout the testimony. That Ohio needs to look at the workforce alignment and ask how we can ensure that Ohio residents have the knowledge and skills employers are looking for as they go forward. And part of this is ensuring that we're helping K through 12 forecast to where many of these students want to go into the future, but most importantly, the adult workforce that are out to reinvent themselves and retrain and find a path forward. One of the constant themes the committee heard is that there needs to be more pathways in post-secondary training and education, and later on Representative Hagan will talk about initiative that both of us will take on into the future. Today's high school students and adults alike could benefit from better understanding of what the occupations and skills are in high demand now and into the future. And some of the recommendations and some of the work that we'll be doing, we'll be taking a look at how K through 12 can better build pathways and prepare students as they go before college. Of course, a lot of us have seen and heard throughout both House Bill 59's testimony in the Finance Committee and even into the Study Committee that the Lumina Foundation did a report that showed that the degree gap continues to grow. That currently 36% of the workforce has a degree, and by 2025 we're projected to meet about 44% of the 60, leaving about 16% gap for us to continue to meet. We can't do this just solely by the traditional students coming out of high school. There's going to be a huge emphasis on helping adults retrain, relearn, and reinvent themselves and ensuring that there's access for those adult retrainers, and then additionally breaking down stereotypes for these folks. State funding and school financial aid. This is what you're all waiting for. Perhaps the issue raised the most at every hearing was the need to provide financial aid and to financially needy students. Multiple witnesses asked us to consider increasing funds to OCOG and reestablishing access to OCOG in community colleges. This is a topic that we found to be very wide and varying, one that we need to really take a lot of time to focus with a lot of interested parties. We've been able to have an interested party meeting already with many of the different facets of the schools, including the Board of Regents, and we need to continue to find, through this report, as you'll see, continue to expand that interested party meeting and continue to have conversations to how all together we can move forward in one direction with buy-in from everybody. Enrollment changes. The committee not only heard about the challenges facing 18 to 22-year-old traditional students, but the ever-growing changing face of Ohio's college campuses with adult students, non-traditional students. As I was saying about the ever-growing percentage of students, particularly on the community and technical college campuses, the average age is about 25 and older, and nearly half of Ohio's college students are first generations to seek a college degree. These changes have and will continue to affect our thinking about what higher education is and who serves it. How do the needs of non-traditional students differ from traditional 18 to 22-year-old students, and what can we do to reduce barriers that adult learners face, and again, as I said, the stereotypes that many of them face as they try to reintegrate into the adult education system. Now, one of the big things that we were able to do for adult retraining in House Bill 59 was the one-year option, and one of the recommendations that you'll see in the higher education report is to continue to see that process go forward and continue to sustain it. Now, with that, I'd like to turn it over to my Vice Chairman, who has been very helpful in this committee process, Representative Hagan, and she's going to